one of their main tenets in their belief is that war is wrong. Not this war or that war. War, all war is wrong.
Reporters will say to me, why am I here covering this? Will there ever be closure? And what I say to the reporters, the journalists, I don't want there to be closure.
I saw what happened. I was a protester, but I think more importantly, I was an eyewitness. I saw what they did. They stopped, they turned, and they started shooting into a crowd of unarmed students.
You know, one thing I want to be real clear about is we didn't come here on our own. We were asked to come here by law enforcement and by the mayor of the city of Kent. And that's how we wound up here.
A cultura de protestos está ligada a um instinto humano de reclamar daquilo que não se adequa aos ideais de um pequeno ou grande grupo social. Em 2013, foi a vez dos jovens brasileiros liderarem os protestos e saírem às ruas para mostrar sua insatisfação contra ações do governo e o estado atual do país. Em 1970, algo parecido aconteceu na Universidade de Kent, em Ohio.
History is obviously the Vietnam War, and what happened on April 30th is President Nixon went on television and announced that we were invading Cambodia. He called it an incursion, and when the incursion, of course that showed to students particularly that two things. The war was not only not ending, but it was in fact spreading.
They were committing genocide against the Vietnamese, Cambodian, and Laotian people.
Everybody was getting really tired of it. It just didn't make sense, and people were upset about it all over the country.
But when it came to college in the fall of '67, I started to hear my professors and my fellow students start to question the war in Vietnam. And so I began to question it.
And then finally on May 4th, the day that the shootings occurred, everything started off pretty quiet, but then protesters started to accumulating on campus. And pretty soon it got to be pretty big. And we moved troops up to that area because we didn't know what the crowd was going to do.
And the group gathered maybe 300 anti-war students, long-haired protesters, and we were by the bell, and we were clapping our hands, we were chanting anti-war slogans, our fists in the air, and basically we were expressing our opposition to the war. Well, the National Guard, at 12 noon, they fired tear gas, and they started chasing us. They came marching toward us.
Then they moved back up the hill, and when they did that, I could see them moving, and I seen lots of people going toward them.
But I thought I was safe. I thought they would not shoot.
And when they reached the top of the hill, it was like they turned, lowered their rifles, and started firing. And I could hear the bullets hitting the ground around me, and I'm thinking, oh my God, why are they shooting at me? And I jumped on the ground, and I covered my head, and I laid there for a few seconds hearing bullets hit the ground right around me. I was amazed. I mean, it's like, are they taking target practice at me?
They fired 67 gunshots, mostly from a high-powered rifle called an M1 carbine. The M1 rifle can shoot for almost 2 miles. It can pierce through steel. It pierced through the trees. It pierced through cars.
And the next thing I know, I got hit, and it felt like a bee sting. And I didn't know where I got hit, but it was on the back somewhere.
13 students were shot. 4 students were killed. 9 were wounded. I was one of those wounded. A bullet entered in through the front of my wrist here. It came out through the side. So the bullet went through my arm.
And there was 4 students killed and quite a few wounded. And that happened virtually in front of me.
Sandy Scheuer and Bill Schroeder were killed. They were not protesters. They were bystanders, just watching.
Something happened there with that other company. It was an accident, somehow that a misunderstanding or something, I don't really know, and that caused them to turn and shoot.
I was working on a book that I'm writing, and I was very surprised to find a tape recording there of the shooting incident. It had the sounds of the students protesting, the tear gassing, the guard chasing, then the guard coming up the hill, and the shooting incident.
police were totally unprepared to handle what was going on here at the university.
And the civil rights laws in this country allow me to do what I was doing.
Kent State University's formed a May 4th task force. They're attempting everything they can to keep it alive, you know, the memorial, the memory, and that kind of thing.
The symbolic power of May 4th, that doesn't go away.